Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. Welcome to Lady Khadija radiallahu anha online college. Live lesson in A-level maths, pure maths. Modulus equations is today's topic. Just a quick recap on the modulus, what it looks like, what it means. So the modulus of minus 5, the modulus of minus 3 plus, or let's say minus 1, and the modulus of 2x when x is minus 1, and finally the modulus of just normal 5. If you can answer those questions just to warm yourself up, give you a few seconds. Okay, first one, modulus of minus 5, we ignore the minus and that just becomes 5. So what that allows us to do is say that whenever we have a x that's minus, then, so if it's less than 0, then all we're going to end up with is minus x. Another way we can write that is if we've got something more complicated, so a function of x, then whenever that's a 0, less than 0, we're just going to end up with minus f of x. If we just skip over to the right hand side, modulus of 5 is just 5. So that means that if x is greater than 0, then we'll just carry on as normal using x. And more generally, if we have a function of x that's bigger than 0, then we can carry on just using the function as normal. We don't have to do anything to it. But here, where it was negative, less than 0, we drop the negative. And another way, and the proper mathematical way of dropping the negative is to times it by minus another negative. So that's why we have a negative here. So two negatives would would drop that negative back to your positive. Okay, next one, we've got minus 3 minus 1 is minus 4, and then that's with modulus functions we don't look at the minus, we just look at the 4. Here 2x is 2 times minus 1, which is minus 2, and then modulus that, and then we just get 2. So that's a quick recap, and now going on to equations. So we're working through the Pearson edXL book. You can join by buying the same book. It's A-level Year 2 Pure Maths. So we're looking at solving an equation where we've got modulus on one side, 3x minus 1, and just a normal equation on the other side, 2 minus half x. Now when you get good at this, you'll be able to solve it without the help of a graph, but just to try and help you understand how modulus functions work, it's better just to start off with by drawing the graph each time. So let's grab a grid, and I want you to try and picture the left hand side as a graph and the right hand side as a graph. Okay, hopefully you're looking at the left hand side, 3x minus 1. What are you thinking? How is that graph going to look if you think you have an idea? So the gradient of 3 means for every one square across we're going to go 3 up. Minus 1, then if you've been following, you should be able to tell me then what happens next to that graph. Good, a bit more. You can't just draw a V anywhere. Which part becomes the V? Good, everything under the x-axis. So we're going to grab some kind of mirror function, and we're just going to draw the mirror image Can't quite get rid of that. Hopefully that'll work. Just going to draw the mirror image. So that's it flipped, and it worked better last time. Try that again. Let's take this away. Okay, let's try that again. So we just want to flip this. And yeah, I wanted it to work today, but never mind, we'll just carry on with that. So if I'd done it the same way as yesterday, you would have ended up with the first part being intact, and I think it's where I cut it that made the difference, and then the second part gets flipped. So there's your V shape, well done. And now on the other side you've got 2 take away half x, so the gradient on this one is for every 1 square across it's going down by half a square, so every 1 square across is going down by half a square. And think about the 2, what does a 2 mean? Hopefully you understood that that is the intercept, the y-intercept. So there's your graph of the right hand side, and we're just looking for the intersections, so we just want to know that point there and that point there. So you can see this one is roughly just under 1, and this one is roughly probably negative a quarter. So now we can picture it, we can then go ahead and do the algebra. So the first thing is always really easy. You just imagine that there is no modulus function because we're dealing with positive answers. So if our answers are always positive, then modulus doesn't really take any effect, doesn't have any effect at all. So we can carry on with the equation as if it was just a normal equation with no modulus. So I'm just going to change that to 0.5x, take the numbers to one side and then divide, and you've got 3 over 3.5, which you can probably write better as a fraction without the decimals. So that's going to be, if you double both top and the bottom, that's going to be 6 over 7. So now the easy one's done. What are we going to do on the next one? Because the next one isn't so easy. So that's your first answer, fantastic. But now comes the test. If you really are able to work with the modulus function, what am I going to do to figure out the other solution? Okay, you've got to think of what we were just looking at the beginning when I said that if you take x is less than 0, then you can replace that with minus x. When you take a function of x less than 0, you can replace that with, okay, good, fantastic, Aisha, minus can work. So where we have the modulus sign, we can remember that if the answer turns out to be negative, we can drop the negative and